borrowed the frame for someone else. Let's see. This one here, it comes in a lovely Bezos bag. These ones, again, I think everybody in the community has seen these patterns. These are, of course, the Witchy Stitcher tarot cards. Now, I haven't actually made much progress on these, but what I am doing is I am stitching these on 14 count black Ada black plastic canvas that was an absolute nightmare to track down, but I did find somebody on Amazon who stocks it, so there you go. Again, just stitching it in all of the called for colours, but I'm using CXC instead of DMC. Needle minder is from Lindsay at For the Love of Needle Minders. To be fair, most of my needle minders are from there. I've got a handful that are from somewhere else, but the vast majority are from Lindsay. And again, stitched with all of the CXC thread. Now this CXC thread I actually sourced from a fellow floss tuber, Rach over at Talking Dog Stitchery. She's just opened up her own LNS, her own online LNS anyway, and she sells the CXC, so that's where I'll be continuing to get it from in the future. Next we have is in this absolutely spectacular case from Canny Little Fox, using, I believe this is Tula Pink fabric, and I am obsessed with it. It's stunning. In this is actually a project that I was due to start as part of a round robin with Rach at Talking Dog Stitchery, amongst a whole bunch of other stitchers, but as tends to happen, life got in the way, so I actually started this just as a standalone project, and this is Pin-Up Girls by Soda Stitch. Now I have actually recharted this, so the way it's charted is that all of the girls are in one long line. However, I had this perfect fabric, which I'm not sure if you can see, it's like pastel rainbow candy floss hallucinogenic dreams. I had this perfect fabric. I wanted them to fit on here, and the only way they were going to fit is actually in 6 rather than in one long line. So I have actually recharted this a little bit just to make it fit better on the fabric that I wanted to stitch it on, but I'm absolutely loving it. Look at the difference the back stitch makes on this. Again, I'm stitching it, because this is 20 count Ada, I'm stitching it one strand CXC in the called for colours. This needle minder is from Lindsay, and this needle minder, I can't remember where it came from. Possibly it's a Silks For You freebie when I placed an order with them. That is that one. Gosh, this pile is just like this, and I'm just trying to work out what I can pull out without causing an avalanche. Okay, this one is a relatively new start. I say that I started it yesterday. It is for a smalls exchange, so I'm not going to say which smalls exchange it's for, but it is for a smalls exchange. So this is Boo by Hello from Liz Mathews. This is being stitched with fancy floss, but not necessarily the called for fancy floss. So this is the ring of colours that I'm using. This is a mix of Gentle Art Samplers, Cottage Garden Threads, and Colour and Cotton. Just picking up those kind of vibes. It's basically 3 oranges, a black, a grey, and a brown. And I am actually stitching this on the reverse of a piece of printed fabric. So the actual fabric is actually supposed to be, and I don't know if you can see in this light, is actually supposed to be a really deep purple. But actually I quite like the kind of weather-worn, dusky, witchy purple that the reverse of that colour was. So I'm stitching it on the, there you go, that's a better colour of it. So that's the piece I'm working on that. Now this printed 20 count Ada is actually from a local supplier to me up here in the northeast. Zoe's Gifts and Crafts, she has a huge range of printed fabrics available, and she does it in everything from 14 count Ada up to, I believe, now don't quote me on this, I believe she can also print on some 32 count even weave fabric as well. But I am obsessed with 20 count Ada. I love the 1/over stitching, I like the tiny stitches, and I just don't get on with 40 count Adas, with 40 count linens, so this is a wonderful alternative. And I'm loving it. It's stitching it really quickly, and I just think it looks so good on the purple. Next one we've got, this one actually started as a Pride start for the start of June, and I've made fairly significant progress on it. I think as well this was also one I stitched out, or at least started with the Stitch the Rainbow that Tan, the monogamous cross stitcher, and Cross Stitch Mad Sarah are all stitching on. I'm not particularly great at social media, so I just never really joined on the hashtags. But this is Rainbow Squares by Vivsters, available on Etsy. Of course, with all of the patterns that I've got here, I will list either the Etsy link or the 123 stitch or other various links that you're able to find the patterns for. This is stitched with Paint Box Threads cotton. Now, it's absolutely beautiful to work with. It's like working with a silk. It is so vibrant and smooth and delightful to stitch with. And I am stitching this on a piece of Coffee Craft 18 count in just a very pale kind of icy blue. Actually, that's coming out quite well on the image there. Again, it's just simple. It's nice, mindful stitching. And it works really well for my challenge groups, because if I need to stitch on a particular colour, I have a full choice of them here. So, actually, I'll just show you the floss card for this one. So this is the Paint Box Cottons. Now, as you can see, they are super vibrant, and they are, I don't know if I'll be able to show it very well, they are a little bit thicker. They are a little bit thicker than a standard DMC. No, I don't think it's going to focus. They are a little bit thicker, but not, they're kind of like 1.5 DMC, maybe 2 DMC at a push. But the coverage is just spectacular on them. Next is the piece I've been working on this morning. So there are still some half stitches that I haven't yet completed. Let me just pull this up. So again, this is a pattern everybody knows. This is, of course, the fox from Cottage Garden Samplings. Now I am stitching mine on a piece of 20 count Ada. It's like a dark sort of stormy blue. It is from Fabrics by Crafty Kate. Now I am actually stitching this piece a little bit differently. Now I'm going to stitch all the trees and the snowflakes, but I'm not stitching the little house that's in it. I actually have the paper pattern here so I can show you what I mean. So there is, in this pattern, there is this little triangular lodge house something. What I'm actually doing is I am planning on stitching this as a wedding sampler. Foxes have a strong undercurrent in our family, and I'm not really a big one for all of the lovey-dovey style patterns. Hearts and ribbons and things like that are not really my jam. So what I plan to do is I'm going to stitch the fox and all of the beautiful trees and snow and all that sort of stuff. But where that little triangular cabin is, I am going to put our initials and the date we were married. So that should be quite good when it's finished. I am trying to get it finished before December, which will be our 2nd wedding anniversary. And traditionally, 2nd wedding anniversaries is a cotton anniversary, and as that is stitched on cotton with cotton, I thought it would be a good goal to try and get it finished by then. Now I am already running down the battery, so we'll see how this goes. This was a Mania stand. I'll show you the pattern straight away because I've got it to hand. This is It Takes All Sorts from Ink Circles. I'm sorry for the glare. I've got the blinds open and everything to try and get some light into here. So this is It Takes All Sorts by Ink Circles. I love it. Licorice All Sorts remind me of my granda. I just love the whimsy of it, and again, it's an absolute delight to stitch. Now, I don't actually know which way is up, but so far I've only done 5 licorice All Sorts. Yeah, 5 licorice All Sorts. And again, this wonderful needle minder that actually matches, because I don't know if you can see there, is actually also licorice All Sorts. That is from Lindsay at For the Love of Needle Minders. Yeah, love it. And I think this fabric is 20 count Ada. Most of my projects are 20 count Ada. I believe this is from Possum Stitching on Etsy. I bought a handful of sort of smaller cut pieces from her. I love them. They're beautiful. Please die more 20 count. I absolutely adore it. So that's fun. And again, I'm stitching it with a mix of it calls for weeks and things like that, and at the time of starting I didn't have a great deal of fancy floss, so I am stitching it with a handful of Forbidden Fibre core colours and just your standard black and white DMC. My black and white DMC on this project are on Cape Blanford. Where are we at? Sorry, I'm being hassled by a cat. Are on the Cape Blanford acrylic floss drops, which I also adore. I would have everything on these floss drops if I wouldn't have to remortgage the house for it. So that's that. This is in an older project. Again, unless I've shown you, everything's in Bezos bags because that's what most of my projects live in. This is Dancer by Barbara Anna. Now, I don't have the pattern to show you, but I will put up a pattern here. I'm not even sure which way around this goes because currently all I've stitched is a block of brown. I think it actually goes this way because I think these little stitches here are freckles maybe on the deer's face. So I think it maybe goes that way. Now, this is on a piece of Owl's Dark Magic by Chromatic Alchemy, and I hate that I've done a center start because this pattern is not going to take up all of this fabric, and now that Chromatic Alchemy is no longer dying, I feel like this fabric should have been better spent. So whether or not this gets picked out and reused is, we'll see. It'll sit in its bag for a while longer and I'll decide later. I do have in some of the bags these beautiful, I love these, Notions bags by Canny Little Fox again. I love Em and all the stuff she does. I love these, they're great. This one does normally have the threads in, but I've kept them out in the bottom of the bag. They're just nice. Sorry, zipper. They're just a nice size. They're big enough to get like a floss card in. They're big enough to hold a ring of flosses, and they're just glittery. They're pretty. They're little. I really enjoy them. Helps us keep. Oh, sorry, zipper again. They just help us keep all the bits together. Sorry, I will stop zippering. It's just habit. This next project. Again, I have a Canny Little Fox Notions bag. It's got the flosses in. I do also have just a Wilkinson's clear pencil case. I normally try and pick them up in the back to school sale when they're like 50p each, because again, these are ideal as additional Notions bags. This is actually one of a set. Now, I have already stitched and finished. Oh, it's in here actually, I can show you. So I have already stitched and finished the first one, which is Jurassic Park Coffee by Silver Creek Samplers. And look at me, past me, thanks Josie. I've actually put the finished piece in. I say finished, it's fully stitched. Nothing of mine gets fully finished. It gets finished and then it gets scrolled away. So this is the actual finished piece that I've done, which I love because coffee, dinosaurs, that's right up my street. and the piece I'm currently stitching, or the piece that's a WIP, is the sister piece, which is T-Rex. Sorry, I'm trying to get the flare for you. So it's T-Rex, and I don't have a phenomenal start on this. Again, it might have been a mania stitch or a mania start, I can't remember. But all I've got is the edge of a letter and the start of the moon or the glow that goes around the middle, maybe. You can see around that T-Rex is like a yellow glow. And that's all I've got. It's stitched on, so I got 20 count natural Hessian. It's like a rough fabric, but it's the same fabric the sister piece is stitched on, and the flosses are all the same, give or take I think like 1 or 2 accent colours, so it's quite nice that they'll be a matched pair. One day eventually I plan on putting a whole bunch of hot drink themed stitches on the wall above a coffee, like a hot beverage station in a kitchen that I don't currently have, because my kitchen is currently 2 pieces of bench and a cooker, but never mind. One day. This one definitely was a mania start. I have a very fondness for iris flowers. They were my nana's favourite flower, and although she wasn't called Iris, they hold a special connection, and she's been gone 5 years this year, so it just feels the world has changed a lot since she left, and this really called to me. So this is an Art Nouveau bookmark. Sorry if you can hear the cat, he's knocking the camera, I'm going to kill him. This is the Art Nouveau bookmark by Durene Jones, stitched on, again, it's that same 20 count Zweigart natural raw, I'm not sure what they call it, and the colours on this are lush because it's literally a light green, a dark green, and an even lighter green, a light purple, a dark purple, and a lighter kind of lilac-y blue colour. So it's super sweet, super nice stitching, and it's going to be too teeny tiny for a bookmark, but I think it'll look lovely just as a, maybe it's a little pillow finish or something. I say that like I finish anything. It'll look lovely as just like a little finish, maybe a little like stand up or something. So that's that one. Sorry, being hounded. I have 2 cats. I have little cat, and big cat is a terrorist. He's over there glowering at us right now. My small boy is a quiet little tiny thing who is probably asleep under the bed where it's nice and cool, because it is in fact the temperature of the sun up here in Newcastle today. Sorry, rambling. This next pattern again is another Silver Creek Samplers. This one was also a mania start. I know Cam the Stitcher has recently finished this. It's been on my to-do list for a very long time. It snuck in my basket the last time I got the hubby to do me a 1, 2, 3 stitch order. I definitely told him I was only buying beads for a mermaid, but this one fell in the basket and winged its way here. So this is I Love You to Death, or I think it's called Reaping Love, but it's I Love You to Death. And I just think it's really nice. Again, like I say, the lovey-dovey hearts and flowers and things are, at least as a romance thing, is not really my jam. Don't get us wrong, I've got some patterns that are flowery and gorgeous and I love them, but they're not really my jam. And so far, a bit of a muesli start. So I've got a D and a crow. This little heart needle minder is from Kate Blanford, and this is on a printed piece of 20 count Ada, again from Zoe's Crafts and Gifts and Crafts. I can never remember which way around it is. But she's on Etsy, and I will of course link her below. So that's that. When I'll stitch on any of these really depends on the prompts that get called for. That's how and why a lot of these get started is because I need a prompt with a bird or a prompt with death on it, something like that. Again, another very common pattern in the cross stitch community. It is, of course, the Nostalgic Ouijia by the, sorry, I've got terribly itchy face. The Nostalgic Ouijia by the Witchy Stitcher. There we go. I can't get away with stitching on black fabric. It gives us migraines. I hate it. So there are a couple of pieces I've got on black fabric, but everything else I try and sub out for something. So this is on a piece of, I don't know what it's called. I know it's by a dyer called Jewelry Fabrics, and she doesn't dye anymore, unfortunately. So this is, again, stitched in all the CXC. It is an opal fabric. You can kind of see the sparkle there. I haven't really done much, and again, I use this a lot for the colour challenges for fandom. So stitch on blue, stitch on purple, stitch on yellow, because it's a nice way to crowd in some stitches and make some progress on this. Now I'm going to have to stop here because my battery's dead, so I will be back in 10 seconds for you, and with a new battery. Hello, welcome back. Sorry about that, I had to go get the cable to plug the camera in, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. So this next one that I have here is a pattern out of a magazine. I can't remember which magazine it is because I have a Weedly subscription and I just have all of the patterns sort of bookmarked or saved down from there. I am stitching this with a silk, and actually it is coming up quite true to colour there on screen. I was part of the Silks for You Christmas stitching. Christmas 12 Days of Christmas box, that's what it's called, there we go. It's just on a piece of cardstock. And I actually started this for Cam the Stitcher, Marjorie made, Bridget the Museum Stitcher, their Pink February stitching. So this is a pattern by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I believe it's called Lovebirds. And again, this is a 20 count Ada. It is from Chromatic Alchemy. I actually bought it as a second. I don't think it's a colorway that she would have normally sold. However, like I mentioned before, she has actually stopped dyeing. So it just is a piece of Chromatic Alchemy. And I really love the sort of tone on tone, this bright Barbie pink against this sort of soft strawberry sort of candy floss coloured pink. Nerd frames. I love stitching in a nerd frame. I used to stitch Q snaps, but I've never been a huge fan. I found that they're just not comfortable to stitch with. So most of the things that I have are either in hoops or nerdges. This, what's it called? Grind guard, there we go. This grind guard is from a lovely person on Etsy called Wixie's Den, maybe. I actually have this pattern with the stars on in at least 2 other sizes, and I think you'll see another 2 or 3 different patterns. I love them because she specifically does the nerd framed size ones, so it does particularly for these lighter coloured fabrics, because I'm not precious about stuff, so I will stitch with dirty hands and I will stitch immediately after dinner, like, not like a slob, but I'm not precious about stuff. If it gets a bit grubby, it gets a bit grubby. So I'm just trying to protect the lighter fabrics. Gosh, where next? This next one is a bit of a behemoth. I am so far behind. It is a Sal, and you probably, or you may recognize it. It is the James Webb, I was going to say microscope. I work with microscopes, so it's a telescope It is the James Webb Telescope SAL, there we go, that's there, you can see it there, by Climb and Goat Designs. It is actually stitched on a printed Ada, and again, this is from Zoe's Craft and Gifts. You will see there is a quite big nasty scar mark here. Somebody had the clever idea of trying to shift the fabric in an urge frame without even bothering to undo any of the screws, and got so frustrated when it wasn't moving, I yanked it really hard and just tore a hole in my fabric, which I've never ever in any of my setup ever done before, but there was just something about this. But by the point I'd done that, I'd already stitched these two and most of the yellow hexagons. I wasn't restarting. It should be fine. It's one of those things, sorry, I'm still a bit back to front with this whole camera malarkey. It should be one of those things that I could, there's about a 3 square gap here. If I ever finish this, and if it ever wants to be framed, I'll just frame it super tight to the, sorry, there's a cat on the windowsill. I will just frame it super tight to the edge of the hexies. This needle minder is actually from Mary's Minders, Abby over in the US advertised it. I can't explain it, but I knew that this fish had to go on this space pattern. I don't know, it just, this fish was bought specifically for this pattern, and I can't explain why they had to go together, but they did. I love it. These hexies are so much more stitching than you would think. Like, there's probably 2,000 stitches per hexie, if not more, and they're dense. Like, that's full coverage. Like, where are my other hexies? There we go. They're full coverage. And Claire at Climb and Goat, her designs are beautiful. They're so full of colour and they're so beautiful. But my gosh, like there must be 8 shades of blue in this. It's beautiful. I love it, but this is a thinky piece, not a mindless piece. So I'll get there eventually. I love it. There's no hurry. I have no hurry for any of my projects. Mostly. I stitch for the joy of stitch, and I stitch for the peace and quiet, and I stitch for the imaginary internet points for my fandom group. If you are in the fandom group, by the way, I'm on Team Mickey. Drop an emoji below. Drop a mouse emoji if you're in the fandom group, or yeah, or if you've even gotten this far, drop a mouse emoji and we'll see what's up. Yeah, this one next. This was one of my all-time unicorn patterns. I'm aware now that I could, the kit is available through Hobby Jobby, which is, they're a UK shop, an online retailer, but they supply a lot of the Russian, Eastern European designer kits, Luca S, whatever the other one is, and the Adriana kits. Now, I'd actually purchased this before I knew that existed, but never mind. So this is, or will be, Kingdom of Books. I'll put in an image of what it looks like, obviously. Now, I just bought the pattern, the actual pattern, from somebody's stitched kit second-hand, so I am stitching it on my own fabric with my own floss. It's CXC. This is a 20 count neutral Ada from, I think this one's a Crafty Kate one as well. It might have been one of the very first pieces I bought from her. It is actually very slightly mottled with a very light grey. It's a bit like concrete paving slabs. It's got that kind of, like, it's all one colour, but there's some depth to it, and I really like it. It's beautiful. It's really intricate. I'm trying to work in sections, so I'm trying to finish out this, like, centre gate clock tower, and then I'll probably go book by book to one side and then book by book the other way. One thing I have changed is I do have design software. I have changed the titles of the books from the Russian acrylic alphabet that was originally on them to represent books that are important to me or have been important to me throughout my life. So that'll be fun when I get to the point of being able to backstitch some well-loved titles onto them. And again, this is in an urge frame, in a Bezos bag, with a Wixie's Den ground guard, and both the needle minders are, this one's a snowflake, and this one says, sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come, are both from Lindsay at For Love of Needle Minders. The Love of Needle Minders, I believe the page is called. Gosh, I've still got loads to go, sorry. This next one is a special piece. This is my current ongoing chatalaine. Now I'm not privy to stitching the big ones just yet, but I am getting there. I started this and the what I call a sister piece. It's not, it's just another one in the series. Sorry, my cat's running wild. This is Beaded Toadstool Tile, and I've just recently finished Beaded Scarab Tile. Maybe if this video doesn't crash and burn, I might do a finishes parade, because I've got a few things I'm proud of that I just haven't done anything with. So this is Beaded Toadstool. Let me put something behind so that you can see. So this is Beaded Toadstool. So basically this is the outer edge. These are all stitched. This is beads, this is stitched, and these here, if you can see, are in fact all beads. So I basically just need to replicate this edge another 3 times to fill that space. Now these tiles they're a really nice introduction to a chatelaine. It has all of the sparkly gems, you can see them here in the middle. The sparkly gems, it's got the fancy stitches, it's got the silks, it's got the metallics, it's got the beads, but this is it, this is how big they are. They stitched on a 28 count garden green, I think it's just called green, Zweigart. I think they come out about 9 inches square, give or take a little bit. So they're a really beautiful way to stitch a chatelaine without committing to one of those gigantic remortgage your house kits. And not to say I wouldn't want to do one, I just you've seen how many whips I've got. It's an undertaking I don't need right now. I did kit this one up myself, so there are some substitutions because I kitted it up last October. I started both this and the beaded scarab, which I finished as birthday starts last year, and getting hold of Gloriana's was still difficult, so I subbed some of them out. I think I swapped some of them for Dinky Dyes, and I think I swapped some of them for something else. Not sure. If you do want to know, I can find out, but visually there isn't really any difference to what they're supposed to look like. I do have a lot more sort of gothy alternative sort of style stitching, but that's only because I really enjoy the way Witchy stitch her charts her patterns. I find them really enjoyable to stitch, so that's how a lot of her stuff, or her and Sage at Night Spirit Studio, I really enjoy the way their stuff's charted. And actually this is a Night Spirit Studio, I think this is a Night Spirit Studio, yeah, I'll find out, I'll put it here if I can't remember. Night Spirit Studio piece. This is Jeweled Queen. It's the one where she's in the archway and she's a skeleton. Needleminder again from Lindsay at The Love of Needleminders, and this really obnoxiously turquoise and purple fabric is another chromatic alchemy. Now what I'm actually doing, I had grand plans for this and I was going to frame them in a a double matted frame, and I was gonna, it's never gonna happen, but whatever. I have actually already stitched the companion piece, the knight, on this fabric, so I'm doing sort of him and her together on this piece of fabric. The fabric itself is spectacular. I might be able to salvage some of this top to maybe do an itty bitty little small one just because it's lovely. But yeah, so I'm doing both of these pieces. Again, stitched with all of the called for colours. I have added in a little bit of metallic on your man's sword here. I don't know if you can even see in the light, but there is some metallic here on his sword, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. I'm not sure where I'll put the gold, the bronzy gold metallic on the queen yet, but we'll see when we get there. The counting on this one's a lot. Like, even though I have the digital pattern and I have Pattern Keeper, the counting on it is a lot. Like, just making sure that the count here is correct. The count on these is correct. Even on Ada, it's one of those, it's just one of those patterns where the counting seems to be a lot. You'll know what I mean. There's always one pattern that you just think, I know how to count to 10. This pattern will prove me wrong every time. So that's that. Again, just in a Bezos bag. This one here is a personal favourite. I'm going to show you the notions bag first, just because I love how colour coordinated I made it. So it is another Canny Little Fox notion bag. It's got a green floss card. It's got monstera leaves on it, and this is dandelion. This is charted by Little House in the Attic. It is a freebie pattern. I believe it's still available on our website. I will have a look and I'll link it below if it is. It's a lot of backstitch. It's a lot of blends. Like, it's very much a Eastern European designer pattern with lots of blends, lots of colour changes, lots of backstitch, but it's spectacular. I love it. I've stitched 3 of his legs, 3.5, no, telling a lie, 2.5 of his legs and a bit of his tail. It'll look like this when it's done, and I'm stitching it again on a piece of Chromatic Alchemy. I think this was called Austera or Electrum. It's basically, it's like lemon and lime sherbet. That's quite a good representation of it. It's a bit darker than it's kind of washing out to here. I love it, but it only takes up a teeny tiny bit. So, but my husband is called Dan, and the running joke is he is a dandelion. So this is, of course, my dandelion stitch. Needleminder from Lindsay at Madminder. No, that's a lie. That's not where it's from at all. Needleminder is from Lindsay at The Love of Needleminders. I've never even placed an order from Madminders. Never mind. Let me just, sorry, I'm just putting these elastics back on here because otherwise I will never find them. Sorry, I'm trying to crinkle. I've got a microphone plugged in down here and I'm trying to crinkle away from the microphone. That's an empty bag. This one is just a tiny little thing, and I thought it was going to take us no time whatsoever. However, I forgot that these are full coverage and that they are in fact a lot of stitches. This is a, oh look how good that looks. This is a mini masterpiece. It's from the Stitch Patterns. Yeah, it's from the Stitch Patterns. It is John Waterhouse's The Soul of the Rose. Now, I did originally have this pattern as a full coverage, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, kitted, ready to go. I just couldn't bring myself, because in the Heaven and Earth Designs, this top corner here, where it's the edge of the wall and the tree above, is like 2 pages of nothing but black and brown. And a story for a different day. I won't stitch Heaven and Earth designs anymore. There are much better charters out there, and the patterns just don't do anything for me. I have one Heaven and Earth designs that is currently ongoing. I can't show you that today because it is with my stitchy setup in my office. But this is teeny tiny Soul of the Rose. Again, it's stitched on 20 count Aida. It is just white. I bought meters of it from Wool Warehouse because I hadn't seen 20 count Aida on the Bold anywhere. So I got meters of it. I had every intentions of dyeing it some colours, but I need white. You will have noticed I don't stitch much on neutral colours. Everything's on a colour or a dyed fabric, so I should probably have some projects on white. This little Scrabble letter, it is a W. It is it's my maiden name initial, which is Wild, which is where WILDfoxthreads comes from. So that is that. I don't know where I got that needle minder from. Can't remember at all. It's been kicking around forever though, so that's that. Where are we at? This next one is a magazine chart. I actually got the pattern, the kit, as off the freebie stash table at the Tartan Retreats in Dumfries. It is from Cross Stitcher magazine, June 2018, and it is a flamingo foam case. So it does actually come with all the flosses, but it also comes with the piece of fabric and the finishing pieces, which I may or may not use. Run and joke, Lindsay will attest to the fact I don't actually finish anything. But it's going to look like that, but I have swapped out the fabric because the fabric that came was a teeny tiny little scrap, and I can't stitch in hand. I just can't make my brain do it. So if I was swapping it out anyway, I swapped it out for something a little bit funnier. This is 20 count Aida, no surprise, from Possum Stitching. Again, this is one of those smaller pieces that I bought as like a bulk load from Etsy, and it's just white with some funny coloured bits on it. Needle minder completely mismatched to the project. This is a Ouija board needle minder. Put my teeth back in. A Ouija board needle minder from the love of needle minders. So that's that one. And this one unapologetically just lives in the plastic wallet that I grabbed it off the freebie table in, because it was up until last week still in the suitcase from where I took it away as a travel project, and I tucked it into the inside pocket of my travel case, and it was in fact still there, so it's never been upgraded to a new bag. Speaking of new bags, Cross Stitch Jess absolutely has blown away the bag game. Look at this, it is spectacular. I'm not going to zip it, but it's a corner zip, like I love it. And these are nudge specifically sized for nudges, which is even funner, because stitch everything on a nudge. This is We Go On by Uncanny Kari and D's 20 Stitches. Now, I have loved this pattern from the minute I saw it released for Spring Fling last year, and I've just had to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until it was eventually released. I've wanted to stitch it in, so I'm actually stitching it in Thread Picker Silks, in the colour Eladon, which is like this beautiful, heavily variegated teal blue. Let's see if I can get it to focus. It's like a teal blue. I love it. It's like lagoon water. It's beautiful. So I am stitching it on a piece of 18 count Coffee Crafts fabric. This fabric's a bit, it reminds me of a bruise. I can't explain it any other way. it has bruise-like qualities. It kind of looks like when you've done your shins in falling up a flight of stairs. I say as a very clumsy person. It's got that kind of bruise colour to it, and I love it. And it is, like I say, it's stitched in silk, and it is a, to drag again, picture here to show what it looks like. But it is a dragon skeleton, so I have a little blue dragon needle minder, again from Lindsay at the Love of Needle Minders. And my silk is on a Cape Blanford floss drop. I like to put my, if I only have like one colour, one skein for a pattern, a monochrome, I like to use these chunkier ones because they don't get bashed about quite as much. So that is that, and the inside of this bag actually has like feathers, and then the outside is damask roses. I love it so much. So that's that one. We're still going, guys, we're still going. I didn't realise I had quite so many projects. This is a awesome pattern studio. It's another one from the that team there over on Etsy. This is a Tracy Ann Designs bag. It's a Christmas bag in the purples. I think the Notions bag earlier was the same vibe. This is on a piece of 16-count fabric flare in the colour confetti, which I don't know if it will show. Oh, it is kind of showing up there. It's got like multicoloured dots all over it. It's like pale pinks and blues and stuff. This is, of course, Cinderella's Castle. Actually, it's advertised as Cinderella's Castle, but this is quite clearly the Disneyland Paris Castle, which is Sleeping Beauty's castle. The Cinderella Castle's in America. I haven't seen that one. This is the piece I use for the fandom challenge group if I don't have a WIP that meets a prompt. So this is my Disney Plus option. I love it. It's big block geometric stitches. It's a bunch of pinks and blues and oranges, so it's nice and bright to stitch on. 16 count is easy on the eyes, it's easy stitching, but again, it's deceptively large. It's a lot more stitches than I expected it to be going into it, but never mind. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to colour complete, so if I have to do 300 stitches, I will pick whatever the next closest to 300 stitches is, work that, and then knock the rest off the whatever the next one up is. So I'm trying to colour complete on it. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. Again, needle minder from Lindsay if I didn't say that. That's lost bag. Okay, I think there's only about 5 more to go, so we're getting there. Speaking of unicorn patterns, I mentioned Kingdom of Books earlier. This is another semi-unicorn pattern. So I saw this pattern, it released for, hold on, sorry, I've just found needles and I'm just trying to work out where it goes. It wasn't this one. Released for needlework, Nashville needlework markets last year. So not the one just gone, the one 2023, yeah. So this is, I saw this pattern and I knew I had to have it. I knew it was destined to be mine from the very beginning. And again, I have no real claim to the subject matter. It is Don't Feed the Plants by Ingleside Imaginarium. Brittany has phenomenal patterns. It's Don't Feed the Plants by Ingleside Imaginarium. Now, I have no connection to Little Shop of Horrors. I know it's not directly that, but it's that vibe. But there was just something about that pattern I had to have. Then came, I've got a bit of a story for this one. Then came the problem that I didn't want to stitch it in DMC, CXC. I didn't want to stitch it in standard threads. And without seeing the flosses that it was supposed to be called for, I didn't know how best to sub out fancy flosses. The called for silks are Be Stitch Me silks now. Brandy at Be Stitch Me doesn't ship outside of the US. I understand why, and I totally respect that as a business decision. Like, I get it, it's an impracticality, but my god, did I want those, did I want those silks. So eventually there was in fact a mutual stitcher in one of the groups who was going to the States for a little while, and I had the opportunity to have stuff shipped to her to bring home. So these are the silks, and I don't know if it's not really picking them up, but they're all just beautifully variegated. This green one here goes from like murky green all the way up to almost like lemon yellow, and the pinks all have a real depth of colour to them. So this is that's the palette. That's all there is. There's 7 colours, 8 colours, and the one piece I couldn't get was the called for fabric, and the called for fabric is Garden Party by Stitchery, which is kind of oranges and greens on like a peachy background. Coffee Craft, however, Megan works wonders sometimes. Her fabric is phenomenal. She had a very similar piece of fabric, but instead of being oranges, it is in fact pinks and greys and like motley greys and motley greens. So good enough, right? So it is stitched on 32 count fabric by Coffee Craft. Now Megan doesn't, she only does one-off dyes, she only does drop releases. She doesn't have names, so I don't know what this fabric's called. I couldn't even tell you what drop it was from. It was just one I had in my stash, and when I went looking for something as a decent alternative to Garden Party, this one shot out at us. So that's this. It does take a little bit more thought because obviously I can't waste the thread, so I have to be a bit more. I'm not even sure which way up this one goes. This way up, I think. I have to be a little bit more proactive in making sure that I'm not wasting thread, that I'm quite thread conscious of it. I don't like the way I stitched this, where I stitched it in blocks and it's got lines, but I'm not unpicking it, so I'll just have to deal with it. So and again, I keep the silks in this one in a canny little fox pumpkin notion bag. It's got cats and bats and pumpkins on it, and it's got skull and crossbones on the inside, because kind of Halloween without being Halloween. So let me just put that away. Sorry for the crinkling. This is a project that's a bit of a bugbear. I love the pattern. I love what it'll be when it's done. It's such a bear to stitch. So first I'm going to show you the notions bag just because I love it, and this is actually how I feel a lot of the time that I'm stitching on it. Makes us want to just like pull my brains out. And I'm word of warning, just in case this is one of those glitchy art pieces, so just in case anybody needs to look away. This is, I think, the only ongoing project I've got on black fabric because I hate stitching on black fabric. So it will say the cake is a lie. It's a Portal 2 reference. It will eventually be gifted to my sister, who is an avid gamer, and Portal's one of those things that gets quoted a lot. But it's such a bear to stitch. I don't know if it's the black fabric. I don't know if it's the glitchy artwork. It's just, I never want to pull it out. I want to get it finished. So it's maybe going to be one of those where I have to commit to putting some time into it, but that's not today. That'll happen. Again, there's no urgency. It's not for a birthday or anything. It's just, should like it. This was, so the girlies, the cross stitch girlies, everybody knows them. Cam the Stitcher, Megan Bowder, who's the Seattle Stitcher, Bridge in the Museum Stitcher, and Marjorie of Marjorie Maid. And I think also Kitty Stitches over on Insta. Last year started a hashtag Manning Me. Sorry, I forgot that's it. Last year I started and finished Halloween at Granny's, which is a granny square pattern. I'll put the cover image here because the finish is in a drawer somewhere. So this year I started a new one on May 1st, and I haven't done much on it, and you can tell it hasn't been stitched on since because it's not in a frame. This is Full Sun by Carolyn Manning. I love it. It's bright. The colours on it are super summery and bright, and I love them very much. And it's stitched on a piece of 22 count green hardanger fabric. A long time ago, when I first started stitching back in 2019, I bought somebody's entire stash. They had a animal based emergency and needed to make some cash fast. So, you know, good old Facebook Marketplace. I did one of those, here's your money in a car park, move this box into the back of my car kind of thing. And there was a whole stash of 22 count hardanger in a bunch of colours. I've used quite a lot of it through the years, but this bit of lime green was still kicking about, so I started that on. This is another sort of special chart to me. Again, I'm going to show you the floss bag first. This is also a Canny Little Fox notions bag, but it's just plain orange on the outside, and then on the inside it is actually black cats, because you haven't seen them yet, but I'm surprised they haven't been here. I have two tuxedo boys, big cat and little cat. There is a story there. If anybody watches this, I will maybe tell you that story in my finish parade. And I am stitching this with, these should be on a ring but they're not, with Thread Pickers Silks. Now Eileen's based up in Scotland. Unfortunately I don't think she's dying anymore. She did have a website and she was stocking stuff with Pain Free Crafts, but unfortunately her website has since gone down, and she's kind of removed from social media and things, so I don't unfortunately think she's dying anymore, which is a shame because these are spectacular to work with. That's who the turquoise floss on the dragon pattern is by as well. So this is a bendy stitchy pattern. This is the Rolodex Morning Sampler, and I've changed it up. I'm using none of the called for colours, none of the called for fabrics, and I'm in love with it. I love it so much. The only thing is this is stitched on 36 count linen. I don't like stitching on 36 count linen, but I am not restarting it. I am just suffering through it because it looks amazing. So I don't know if you can see, so all of these are, it's all done with a variegated floss, a variegated silk. Now I know the original story is that the lyrics on this are in reference to the commonly misheard Johnny Cash lyrics. However, these are the actual lyrics to a Hosier song. It reads, "No grave can hold my body down." And then over here on this side, it will say, "I'll crawl home to her." Now, Hosier, again, I'm such a sentimental fool. Hosier has a huge part to play in mine and my husband's relationship. Our wedding song is a Hosier song. The song I Walk Down to the Aisle to is a Hosier song. The songs, the lyrics, the music mean a lot to me and my husband. And when I saw this piece with these lyrics, it had to be stitched. One thing I am changing up, or at least I'm currently believing I'm changing up, it is charted with quite a hefty sort of viney border. I don't think I'm going to stitch that. I think I might stitch the moon and some stars up here, and then the other lyrics here with some more willow branches. So I'll finish off the tree and the text first, and then I'll see. And there are gravestones to go in here. I mean, I'll put the image of what it's supposed to look like here. There are gravestones to go in here, and this layer of dirt is to come all the way along. So there's still quite a bit to go on it, but it's spectacular and I love it. So, and again, this one just lives in a Bezos bag because I don't have a fancy bag big enough for this big nerd frame. So that's that one. Two more, that's all I've got, I think. Yeah, 2 more. 3 more aligned. Again, this is, I feel like a pattern everybody is either stitching or has stitched. Mine is an absolute mess. I started this back when it first came out, so apologies for the fact it's got masking tape on it. It's not even masking tape, it's parcel tape, it's crinkly. Don't know what I was doing. So this is on 22 count hard hanger fabric that was coffee tea dyed by myself, clearly at 2 in the morning with my eyes closed, because you will see there's just a great big stain in the middle of it, but never mind, it's the vibe we're going for. And I have this, as you could tell by my jeweled skeleton and my skeleton knight, I like to put matching pieces on fabric together. I don't know why, my brain's just like, put them together, it'll make sense. Yeah, I decided I was going to do cryptids and the supernatural on the same piece of fabric. Like, cryptids isn't enough by itself. But no, I've already stitched in the title for that and started blocking out the boxes that I knew it would fit. But I don't know if you can see in this light, there is just a great big mark here where clearly I just didn't rinse it very well. So it's like a weird coffee tea dye colour. Oh, there you go, like you can see that dirty stain right in the middle. But I think what I'm going to do is, once it's stitched, if it ever gets stitched, because look at how many times I've frogged this piece, it lives in the fabric now. I'm going to further coffee tea dye, because it's all CXC. I think I've got some red sparkly bits in Mothman's eyes, but it's all CXC, so it's all mostly colour fast. So I'm just going to heavily tea dye it over the top, so it maybe looks like a oldie worldy explorer's map that goes on the wall. Can you see that fly come for me there? I've got the windows open and we've got allotments on that side of us, and the flies in the summer are awful. It's also like so hot in here, and I've got the fan on over there, but I've got it so far away that I can't feel it, so you guys can't hear it. Cooking. But never mind, what we do for the ardour. But yeah, so maybe eventually I'll get round to finishing this, or it'll go in the bin. It's one of those, it teeters on the edge of a UFO every time I pull it out, because again, it's another project. I know how to count to 10. I've been able to know how to count to 10 for more than 30 years at this point. This project will prove I don't. That's basically what it comes down to. Next piece that I've got is by one of my newer favourite designers, and surprisingly this is the only piece I've got on the go at the moment, but I'm going to change that and I'll get into that kind of in plans. This is by Needle Lot Designs. Sorry, I didn't zip it. Again, I'm going to show you this bag, because look at it, it's got the Universal Monsters on it, and I love it so much. Again, it's a canny little Fox Notions bag, and I think it's just plain black. Yeah, it's just plain black on the inside. So this is by Needle Lot Designs, and if you haven't seen Iris's work, it is spectacular. The way she uses colour is unbelievable. So this is Kelpie Dragon. Now I started this on Lunar New Year for Dragon New Year. Now I'm a dragon baby. I was born in the year of the dragon, so it was important that I did a dragon stitch. I'll stick a picture up of what this will look like when it's done. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to stitch. You'll see on the picture there's like a Grecian border around the outside. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to stitch it, but if I do stitch it, I'm going to stitch it in this silk, which is a mystery silk from Silk's View. It was in one of their bits bags, so I have no reference number, no PR number or anything for it, but I love it. And again, this is one of my 3D printed floss cards. This was just a prototype one of, it's a longer one, I think it holds 20 flosses, but I don't like it. It's a bit, I don't like it. I much prefer the shorter ones. So that is Kelpie Dragon by Needlelock Designs. And I am planning on starting a lot more of her patterns probably in November. Heard it here first. I might be starting a Needlelock November hashtag, because the patterns she designs are spectacular. She doesn't have a Patreon, however she has a Ko-Fi, and for the price of a Patreon subscription you can sign up to her Ko-Fi, and you will get you have to, it's the Gato Rancher tier, I think is the 3rd tier. It's very affordable. You get a pattern every other month I think, and this month is actually Nessie from the Loch Ness Monster, and it's super cute and I love it. And yeah, so I just need to start all the things because I haven't actually started anything except the Kelpie Dragon. This last pattern I have to show you, telling a lie, I do have another one, but she's massive and she's through there and I don't want to go and get her. I might take a picture and insert it. Sorry, I've got hiccups, I've been talking too much. Everybody who knows us will be saying that's not possible. This is in a Kaylee's 10 stitch bag. Now, I cannot recommend Kaylee and Kaylee's bags and Kaylee's fabric higher. One, it's a deep bag. It's got a like a gusset in it, so it holds loads of stuff. But look at how cute it is. This one's super cool. So it's got like this Art Deco, and you think, oh, that's cool. That's newspaper print. They're all adverts for toilets. They're all toilet related adverts. I love it. So this pattern is Thursday Goes Goth. It is from Hemlock and Rye, which is, I always get this the wrong way around, Kansas Girl in a Colorado World. Yeah. It's Julie. She designed this. I believe she has the original Thursday Priscilla Dawes sampler, and she charted it in the reproduction colours, the original colours, and then she released this. Again, I'm stitching on a fabric that is not the called for. The called for is, I'd imagine, a neutrally colour. I'm stitching it on a green, which is a one-off dye from Fabrics at Crafty. Oh, on that note, Kelpie Dragon is also on a Fabric of the Month by Fabrics by Crafty Kate. I don't think it has a name. This is on a piece of green, and it's just look at those colours. Look at it. Now, not many people stitch 1 this pattern and 2 in this colourway, but I do know that Dee over at Dee's 20 Stitches has just started this in this colourway, and it's just, look at it, with these like, they're like, I'm calling them blackberries, they might be purple strawberries, these purple berries around the outside, and this flower here that look, I mean, it's a flower, it's connected to the plant, right? It looks like a dead frog, and I love it so much. This is a dog on a boat. A dog on a boat. and I love it. And to make this even more special, in this Tracy Ann Designs Notion bag, myself and some of my local stitchers, we went in on an order to Vicky Clayton Silks, hand dyed floss, I think, HDF silks, because shipping from the US is that much that we went in on an order together. So I'm actually stitching it with a Vicky Clayton silk conversion, and my goodness, are these dreamy to stitch with. Like, just look at these turquoises, look at the colours here, they're just, and the purples, and the, it's beautiful. I do have, there was one colour that either we couldn't match or I didn't get matched, but if anybody is after the conversion, I do have it, so I can just DM me or email me. I'll put my email down below. DM me on Instagram, it's the same username as here, and I can let you know what that is. I do, however, think that's all of my, I do have, I say I've got, technically I've got another 2 WIPs that aren't here. So one of them is a Heaven and Earth design. It is Galaxy Girl, so it's this. I've done very little on it. I say very little, I've got probably about 10,000 stitches in it, but of a 200,000 stitch chart, it's very little. I've only done the top corner. She lives at work because my husband and I own a company, so quite often we are in the office over the weekend. Dan will work, do what he needs to do. We have a biotech company. He will do what he needs to do over the weekend, R&D, lab work, computer work, whatever. And I am at my leisure to sit in the office, either at my desk and play video games, or I sit and stitch. We have the radio on, we just chill for the day. It's not really much different to if I was sat at home. So I don't have Galaxy Girl here. And the other piece that I don't have here is the Bella Filipina Diary. Diary? No. Diary trio. The 3 girls together. Now, I know a lot of people have seen the setup of the 3 girls being stitched on the same piece of fabric. There is Hanan, who is the Morning Star. There is Tala, who is, I can't remember what her title is, Goddess of something, and Mayari, who is the Moon. So there are the 3 and the 2 sisters face into the 3rd. I am stitching those on a single piece of fabric on a 42-inch wide scroll frame. Now that is, you can't see here, but this is a double-seater sofa. So the scroll frame is actually probably wider than what I can get in shot here. So it has not been stitched on recently. I do normally stitch, I'm actually sitting, this is Dan's side of the sofa, but it's got better light. I do normally stitch sat here with, I have a, sorry, excuse me for reaching. I have a LBC lap stand. It's got a cover on it so I can sit on it with my pajama shorts on, which I really enjoy for sitting on the sofa. I stitch most of my projects on that on the sofa. However, the trio need my Lowry. Now my Lowry is actually at the end of the sofa. I have an IKEA Pyong chair. They're one of those that shaped chairs. With my Lowry setup and things like that. So if I'm stitching on the girls, it has to go in there, and it still comes to about here on the sofa. So with my current stitchy setup, it's practically impossible to stitch on those comfortably. I've got to settle in to do it. It's not just a pick it up and away I go kind of thing. That is something I'm looking to change in the future. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do about that, but I do want to get more work on that. I will put a picture in here of where it's currently at. I haven't done much. I've done the middle 2 pages on Tala, and I've started one of the middle pages on Mayari, and that's it. Those are the only projects that I've got stitches in that either haven't been UFO'd or I'm planning on UFO. There's a couple that I pulled out when I was pulling these out that I have no intention of ever picking up again. I started them for a challenge or for a prompt. I don't really want to stitch them. It was just some easy imaginary internet points, as Tasha would say. So that's all of my whips. This is going to be a really long video. I think I've been talking for an hour on this one. It was a half hour before I changed my battery. So I will leave you there today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. I'm aware I've got quite a thick Geordie accent. I am from the northeast of England. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's wildefoxthreads, all as one name. The icon and stuff is the same as it is here. If you've made it this far, leave me a star emoji just to see who actually got all the way to the end. Of course, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. I'm very new to the YouTube scene, so it might take me a little while to get back to comments, but I will try. I will try and have everything I've talked about here listed in the show notes below. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks guys, it's been fun. See you later.